geology. The oldest minerals on Earth crystallized about 4.4 billion years ago. The rocks from which they come may have been destroyed by some kind of tectonic process or by a meteorite impact. The Acasta gneiss found near Canada's Great Slave Lake are among the world's oldest rocks. They are granitic and contain a single relic zircon crystal which has been dated to 4.2 billion years ago and formed from a granitic magma. There are several other rock types that developed primarily during the Precambrian but rarely later.
The Paleozoic era, which ran from about 542 million years ago and 251 million years ago, was a time of great change on Earth. The era began with a breakup of one supercontinent and the formation of another. Plants become widespread and the first vertebrates colonized the land.
The Cambrian period. The Cambrian period is the first geologic time period of the Paleozoic era. This period lasted about 53 million years ago and marked a dramatic burst of evolutionary changes in life on Earth. The period gets its name from Cambria, the Roman name for Wales, where Adam Sedgwick, one of the pioneers of geology, studied rock strata. In the early Cambrian, Earth was generally cold but was gradually warming as the glaciers of the Proterozoic eon receded. Tectonic evidence suggests that the single supercontinent Rodinia broke apart, and by the early to mid-Cambrian, there were two continents, Gondwana on the South Pole and Laurentia near the equator. At this point, no life yet existed on land. All life was aquatic.
The Ordovician period lasted almost 45 million years ago. During this period, the area north of the tropics was almost entirely ocean, and most of the world's land was collected to the Gondwana. The Ordovician is best known for its diverse marine invertebrates. From the lower to middle Ordovician, the Earth experienced a milder climate. The weather was warm and the atmosphere contained a lot of moisture. Particularly, good examples of Ordovician sequences are found in China, Western Australia, Argentina, US, and Canada. Ordovician rocks over much of these areas are typified by a considerable thickness of line. The Silurian period occurred from 443 million to 416 million years ago. It was the third period in the Paleozoic era. During this time, continental land masses were low and sea levels were rising. Silurian fossils show evidence of extensive rebuilding and the first signs that life beginning to colonize the new estuary, freshwater, and terrestrial. Beginning in the late Ordovician and continuing throughout the Silurian and into the Devonian, the three northern continents collided, forming the new supercontinent, Euramerica. This collision in the major mountain building ever known as Caledonian orogeny.
The Devonian period is sometimes called Age of Fishes because of the diverse, abundant, and in some cases, desired lives of these creatures that swarm Devonian seas. Forest and cold shell-bearing marine organism known as ammonites first appeared early in the Devonian. The Carboniferous period lasted from about 359.2 to 299 million years ago. During late Paleozoic era, the term Carboniferous comes from England in reference to the rich deposits of coal that occurred therein. Its climate is uniform, tropical, and humid.
The Permian period. In geologic time, the last period of the Paleozoic era, the Permian period began 298.9 million years ago and ended 252.2 million years ago, extending from the close of the Carboniferous period to the outset of the Triassic period. Permian rocks are found on all the present continents. However, some have been displaced considerable distances from their original latitudes of deposition by tectonic transport occurring during the Mesozoic and Cenozoic eras. Some beds dated from the latest Permian ages are unknown for their fossils. Strata, rock layers in the Russian platform, contain a remarkable vertebrate fauna assemblage as well as fossil insects and plants.
The Mesozoic era is an interval of geological time from about 252 to 66 million years ago. It is also called the Age of the Reptiles, a phrase introduced by the 19th century Mantel, who viewed it as dominated by Neopsids. This era is also called, from a paleobotanist view, the age of conifers.
The Triassic period. The Triassic period marked the beginning of major changes that were to take place throughout the Mesozoic era, particularly in the distribution of continents, the evolution of life, and the geographic distribution of living things. Another episode of the mass extinction occurred at the end of the Triassic. Through this event was less devastating than its counterpart at the end of the Permian. It did result in drastic reductions of some living populations, particularly of the ammonites, primitive mollusks that have served as important index fossils for assigning relative ages to various strata in the Triassic system.
The Jurassic period is the second of the three divisions of the Mesozoic era, the age of reptiles. It lasted for 64 million years ago, from about 208 to 144 million years ago. During the Jurassic, the supercontinent Pangaea began to break apart. These created two land masses, northern mass called Eurasia and southern mass called Gondwana land. During the early Jurassic, North America separated from Africa and South America and moved northward but still remained connected to Europe. The Cretaceous period was the last and the longest segment of the Mesozoic era. In the early Cretaceous, the continents were in very different positions than they are today. Sections of the supercontinent Pangaea were drifting apart. By the middle of the period, ocean levels were much higher. Most of the landmass we are familiar with was underwater. By the end of the period, the continents were much closer to modern configuration. Africa and South America had assumed their distinctive shapes, but India had not yet collided with Asia and Australia.
The Cenozoic era, which began about 65 million years ago, it continues into the present. It's the third documented era in this earth. The name is derived from the Greek phrase meaning recent life. Several of the world's foremost mountain ranges, including the Alps, Himalayas, and the Rocky Mountains, were formed during the Cenozoic era. It is also known as the age of mammals because of the extinction of bare groups of giant mammals, allowing much smaller species to thrive.
Tertiary period, interval of geologic time lasting from approximately 66 million to 2.6 years ago. The name tertiary was introduced by Italian geologist Giovanni Arduino. The oldest rocks were the primary, igneous, and metamorphic rocks formed the core of the high mountains in Europe. The Quaternary period, in the geological history of Earth, a unit of time when the Cenozoic era, beginning to 2,500 years ago and continuing to the present day. The Quaternary has been characterized by several periods of glaciation when ice sheets many kilometers thick have covered vast areas.